Previously on The Business.
It is The Business, brought to you by F&B Business Banking. Let's chat social media now, shall we? Mel Attree has joined us in the studio. Has it been a busy week? Because from what I've seen, it's silly season in every area of life at the moment.
Yeah, it seems to be. I think everyone's kind of rounding up the top 10 things that have happened this year. You know, my list, what we predict for next year. Everyone's kind of doing that.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of maybe bits and pieces of interesting news that might be getting lost in the mix at the moment.
Okay, well, it's over to you. Let's hear what's going on.
Right, so I brought my trusty piece of digital paper.
We love it.
Which I love.
I'm going to start keeping those and framing them.
Yeah, because they're amazing. Paper is amazing. It's not incredibly eco-friendly, however, which is a problem for today's insert. I just kind of had a look around to see who's doing what with regards to eco and green stuff, both locally and globally. So there are a couple of really interesting kind of apps and stuff available globally, and not too much happening locally at the moment. But I think there's obviously great potential to do something locally in the future. And, more and more people kind of getting involved on a local scale. But the app stuff for me is really interesting. So, there's an app, I suppose they would work here though as well. Something like Zero Carbon is an app that kind of calculates your carbon footprint. Mm-hmm. So you plug in, it asks you a number of questions. You plug in kind of different things, your typical day, where do you travel to, how do you travel, where do you get your food from, that kind of thing. And it will tell you your carbon footprint and how to reduce that.
Okay, well, let's just stop there for a second. Is it if it's based overseas? I'm assuming it's in Europe or the States or one of those.
Yeah, in the States.
One of those areas. Does it relate back to South Africa? Can we put in Pick and Pay or Woolworths? Can we put in?
No, I don't think local retailers are kind of listed. But that's where I think there's a massive opportunity, because I found another app as well, which it's called Good Guide, which works overseas with retailers. So you scan a barcode of any product and it will tell you exactly what's genetically modified in that product, what's the carbon footprint of that product, their CO2 emissions, all of that kind of thing. So you start being a smarter, greener shopper. So there must be potential to start doing that kind of stuff locally.
I mean, manufacturers and folks who are in the retail sector must absolutely fear these apps, because once they start to get traction and people realize how easy it is to make an informed choice by simply holding up their phone to a product, it's going to change the way we shop. I know I'd spend a few rand more if I knew that I was doing good to the environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is something that is going to impact smaller businesses down the line. If you can come out now and say, look, here's our product, it's green, it has a low carbon footprint. When an app like that comes out and is available locally, people are going to start using that and making informed decisions.
Yeah, definitely. It's just about empowering the consumer so that you make informed decisions at the point of purchase, which I think is really important.
Okay, nice one.
Yeah. And then just a couple of other more educational apps which would apply locally or internationally. So one's called Eco Challenge. The other one's called Green Genie. And these are both it almost challenges you to start changing your daily habits in order to become greener and more environmentally kind of conscious. So it'll give you tips each day and kind of mentor you through the process of becoming greener, which is quite fun. A couple of really interesting stuff happening locally. I asked on Twitter this morning and just got a couple of shout outs back from different people, which is great. One thing that came through was a website called freshearth.co.za, which delivers a local organic produce, which a lot of people are starting to order kind of online, their food. And if you can get regular vegetables, fruit and vegetables, local organic produce delivered, that's a great way of already reducing your own kind of carbon footprint and of eating better, obviously, as well.
There's a wonderful opportunity for that for local food growers around the Gauteng area or around the Cape or around Durban or wherever you might be, to start to bypass big supermarket chains and to do that kind of thing. And I think the technology is going to help in allowing us to be able to do that. The idea behind fresh produce being delivered in what did you say? Green Earth is what it's called. What was the shop called?
Fresh
Earth. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you're able to go online and go, send me a box of whatever's in season,
yes,
and whatever's locally grown and has hurt the environment as little as possible. I'll buy it.
Absolutely.
And you improvise as to what you're cooking by what they give you.
Yeah.
And
I think, that kind of stuff's actually been happening in Cape Town for a while, I think. It's weird in this regard with regards to eco and green, and I'm not sure if it's because Cape Town has more kind of green space available for farming or whatever it may be, but it almost feels like Joburg's a bit behind.
I think so too. Mel.
In this kind of with this kind of stuff, which is quite interesting.
And if you look at KZN, I mean, there's huge opportunities in all of the major centres around the country, and apps, people making informed decisions, being able to go online, pay a couple of rand extra, but do some good to the environment. That's a huge thing. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Something else which a lot of people on Twitter might know about, but if you're not on Twitter, you might not know. It's an initiative called at Tap Water. Tap Water is basically an awareness driver, and what they're doing is they're encouraging people to drink tap water. It's as simple as that. I think the stats are that it takes 2 or 3 bottles of water to make a bottle to put water back into.
Say that again.
It takes 2 or 3 bottles of water to manufacture a bottle, which then has water in it.
Right.
So the whole kind of driver is start demanding tap water. Stop drinking water out of bottles, plastic bottles. There's the whole issue with reducing kind of plastic waste, which is obviously has massive impact on the environment. So what they're saying is, go into a restaurant, order tap water. We have great tap water in South Africa. We have some of the best tap water in the world. So we should be more conscious of actually physically asking for tap water. So Tap Water is an initiative that I think is going to go further. I know they've got some plans to kind of develop further from that in terms of how do they monetize that, how do they kind of help others with that, what is the cause behind it. But at the moment, it's a really great awareness driver. And you can find them on Twitter and on Facebook.
All right. I also, I'm just having a look at their Facebook page here. It's facebook.com/taptapwater. Simple. And on Twitter as well, at taptapwater. Their slogan on Twitter, I quite like it. It says, "We drink our water from a tap so someone else can have a tap for their water."
Yeah.
Which is very, very cool. Just on that point, I can't let it go without mentioning it because it's one of my bugbears, is going into a restaurant in Parkhurst or in wherever, locally, and getting served an Italian water, a San Pellegrino or something like that, which has been sourced in Italy, put on a plane, flown halfway across the world, then had to be driven to wherever it was, whatever restaurant you're at, and then served. And I'm going, open a tap.
Yeah,
it still has
madness.
an expiry date on it as well.
Yeah. So the thing is, when people order internationally sourced water, I just go, no. We've got plenty of the good stuff here. Stop. That's huge carbon footprint.
Yeah.
That really is.
So that's, that's a great initiative. And it's just a simple message. Just drink tap water, plain and simple.
All right.
The last thing, which is quite interesting, or not the last thing, but in terms of green gadgets, people looking for kind of interesting gadgets that revolve around green, you can go to thegreenshop.co.za. And they sell quite a lot of, my favorite kind of items there are really the portable kind of solar power chargers, which I find very interesting.
Tell us the story about the scooters.
So my boss, Craig Rodney, who is a very clever guy, he rides a scooter. And I saw that one day he had attached a portable solar panel to his backpack so that when he's driving his scooter, the sun is then charging his devices, which I thought was really, really smart and really simple. So if more of us can just start thinking about how to use solar power as we kind of move around during the day to charge our devices, that definitely then reduces your carbon footprint.
What a great website. This is going to cost me money.
Yeah.
Damn you, Mel. Damn you.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I know. They sell some really cool stuff.
Wow. There's all sorts of solar-powered things, LED, solar-powered LED floodlights, solar items, travel, wind-ups and gadgets, clocks, rechargeable batteries, candles, book. Wow. This looks like a really cool website.
Really, really cool. So some nice kind of local initiatives there as well. There's also something else interesting I found, which is called thejourneyofwater.co.za, which is run by the WWF locally, where you can find your nearest water source and just get tips on how to save water, which I found interesting.
So is that even viable in a big city?
I think it's just a lot of these things I think are around kind of education. If people just start thinking more about where does my water come from, where does my electricity come from, where do the products that are on my table come from, we start becoming more kind of aware of that.
All right, cool. If you want to find out more about any of the websites or the Twitter handles or Facebook pages, Kriya will be tweeting them. We'll also have them all up at balls.co.za straight after the show for you to be able to go and find out what we're talking about.
Also, the other interesting thing as well is that we think about eco and kind of green things more as plants and food and this and that. Whereas in the States, definite move towards collectively reducing carbon footprint and reducing emissions. So you've got now carpooling apps, which I find quite dangerous.
Yeah, me too.
Riding to work with strangers is not really my bag. But I suppose, carpooling apps, people that need to find kind of other people to carpool to work to, so that those kind of things, or cars that you pick up in the city and kind of drop anywhere and somebody else picks them up. So just collectively thinking more about how to reduce energy on a social kind of level, which is good stuff.
Also, just a quick point on the carpooling app thing. I don't know what the laws are in the United States or in Europe, but I do know in South Africa that insurance companies are very, very kind of strict when it comes to carpooling. If you charge, for example, if us three share a car to work in the morning, and you pay me for the petrol for 1 week, and then the next week I pay you for the petrol, and the next week I pay Kriya, that's seen as charging money, and that is then seen as a taxi service. And insurance companies will not cover you if you're in an accident and have accepted money.
Yikes.
You have to be very, very careful about that, and it's something that I heard about and I read about. So just a heads up on that one.
Do not take money from strangers.
Well, and that's what it is. The carpooling app is like, hey, Bob, your name's Bob, right? Yes, thanks. I'll take your money.
The Business on balls.co.za. Brought to you by FNB Business Banking.